PM raises 5 important points for post-COVID-19 recovery for Asia and Europe. As the world is still facing other complex issues, Prime Minister Hun Sen highlighted 5 important points so as to restore socio-economic development in the post-COVID-19 era. National Assembly votes to appoint Cheam Cheep as first Vice President. The National Assembly today voted to appoint senior lawmaker Cheam Yap as the first Vice President of the National Assembly to replace Nguyen Nel, who passed away earlier this month. Cambodia asks Vietnam to resume flights and increase trade. Prime Minister Hun Sen has asked Vietnam to resume its flight to Cambodia besides increasing trade volume between the two nations. Cambodian PM hopes for expanded trade ties with Vietnam. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen on November 24 expressed his hope for expanded trade ties between Cambodia and Vietnam. Myanmar may be absent from ASEAN summit in Cambodia. Myanmar's military government has informed host country Cambodia that it will not participate in a 2-day summit involving leaders of Asia and Europe to be held virtually from Thursday. Ministry of Commerce releases outcomes of First Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum. The Ministry of Commerce issued a press release on the outcomes of the First Asia-Europe Economic and Business Forum, AEBF1, it hosted on November 24. Cambodia stresses need for strengthening Asia-Europe cooperation. It is necessary to strengthen the Asia-Europe cooperation to be more comprehensive to achieve a resilient economic growth. Government income and expenditure under control despite C-19. The government revenues and expenditures were under control in the light of COVID-19 through a range of reforms on revenue collections. Asia-Europe journos share views on better coverage. Media representatives from Asia and Europe yesterday began discussions on ways to cooperate on bringing better quality news to the region. FTB invests $20 million in Caic bond to support the development of the new Phnom Penh International Airport. A signing ceremony was held between OCIC, Caic and FTB for the investment of $20 million in the new Phnom Penh International Airport, NPPIA, guaranteed bond through private placement. More launches new app for online technical training. The Ministry of Labour yesterday launched a national TVET, Technical and Vocational Learning Education and Training, e-learning platform, which aims to promote its learning among students and users to fulfill the demands of the labour market. Interpol General Assembly discusses global security threats. The 89th International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, General Assembly on Tuesday started with participants discussing the global security threats and how to address them effectively for the safety and security of all countries. On Rights Path, CHRC's work to help vulnerable prove Cambodia's critics wrong. Contrary to criticisms regarding human rights abuses in Cambodia, which have been made by certain quarters with their own agenda, the Cambodian Human Rights Committee, CHRC, has been working hard to seek out and address issues faced by victims of such abuses. AFD to focus on Battambang city drainage systems. The French Agency for Development, AFD, in Cambodia is to conduct a study on flood relief in Battambang city, which suffered flooding. Clubs and KTVs having mixed reactions to reopening. Ahead of the possible reopening of KTVs and nightclubs after November 30, some KTV and clubs are ready to start the party going, while some are considering whether to open or remain closed. EDC issues notification on Phnom Penh power outages from today until the 28th of November. Electricité du Cambodge, EDC, has issued a notification on the repair, replacement, installation of equipment and relocation of power lines from today until the 28th of November. More than 200 individuals and company owners receive environmental protection certificates. More than 200 outstanding individuals and company owners were awarded environmental protection certificates by the Ministry of Environment for their participation in environment conservations. Bats from Cambodia identified as having coronaviruses related to SARS-CoV-2. A team of scientists discovered coronaviruses that are closely related to SARS-CoV-2 from 2 bats sampled in Cambodia over a decade ago. Battambang mine clearance marked by donor visit. CMAA First Vice President Lai Thach and Australia Embassy Deputy Ambassador Andreas Zerbrugg visited Caic Roka village, once one of the most heavily mine-contaminated villages in Cambodia and the scene of intense fighting in Cambodia's history. Mobile app to track information on farmed fish. To convince consumers that farmed fish are safe to eat, a company is going to develop a QR-based traceability system mobile app that will enable consumers to trace back the source of the product and retrieve information about the producers and product quality. Accused denies slashing wife to death. An accused told Phnom Penh Appeal Court yesterday he did not kill his wife as at that time of murder he was ferrying garment workers from the factory he worked. Border provinces well prepared as neighbors' cases climb. Cambodian provinces sharing borders with Vietnam, Thailand and Laos are stepping up measures to prevent the import of COVID-19 cases, as the kingdom's neighboring nations face climbing infection rates. Thais freed from online gambling ring in Cambodia return home. More than 100 Thais who were rescued from a Chinese online gambling ring in Cambodia returned home on Wednesday. More Chinese victims rescued from captors in Phnom Penh. Ministry of Interior's Penal Department in collaboration with the Phnom Penh police led by a court deputy prosecutor on Tuesday arrested more than 50 Chinese nationals including the victims in the capital. About 300 factory workers gathered to protest in front of workplace. Workers from a garment factory blocked gathered in droves to protest in front of their workplace. Construction workers protest over 2 months of unpaid wages. Over 100 construction workers in Svay Rieng Special Economic Zone engaged in a collective protest after being owed 2 months of wages by a Chinese contractor. Drug boat. Authorities seize 170 packs of drugs from boat. Stung Treng's provincial authorities stopped a boat transporting the drugs from Laos into Cambodia. Less than 400,000 left to hit 91% vaccinated against COVID-19 in Cambodia. Cambodia is moving ever so closer to achieve the targeted 91% of total population to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Cambodia passes 120,000 COVID case total, but daily new case figures remain minimal. As Cambodia moves to a post-COVID normality, the kingdom once again recorded the lowest daily new COVID case figures, diagnosed by PCR test, in an unprecedented run of 56 days of new normal low case numbers.